guys, you know what time it is? I think it's Q&A time again, because frankly this should have been filmed months ago, and I dropped the ball over and over and over again. These questions have been waiting for me since... when? October? Yeah, that's how badly I have been dropping the ball. I have meant to film it so many times, and then I would sit down and get stuck on like the first question, which when you guys hear it is really, really sad and pathetic that this is the one that kept holding me up. And it would be entirely easy to just skip it, but yeah, I'm a little miscompletionist over here, so I'm like, no, I'm not gonna skip it. No, I'm gonna make myself answer it, as well as all of them. But yeah, so these questions come from my awesome subscriber, Robin O'Neill, who has a really cool podcast of her own, which feel free to plug it down in the comments. I'll pin the comment so people can go check it out. I have my questions up over here. I'm trying to be quiet because it is currently 4:50 in the morning. I have been up since 2, and 2, count them. 2 is the number of hours of sleep that I got. I'm like, I can string together sentences, kind of, sort of, at this point. So, yeah, that's a thing. But, anyway, gonna just jump into these, do my best to answer them, hope that I don't get too terribly stuck. I still might, but I mean, I'll do my best not to. So, the first one is, what do you find to be your best personality trait? Yeah, that's the question that got me hung up for months, guys, because Little Miss Inferiority Complex over here has been in self-loathing mode again for months on end, and I'm like, I have no redeeming qualities, what the hell? So, trying to think, how do I answer that? Yeah, I go through streaks where, like, for a brief glimmer of a moment of time, I'm able to acknowledge that there are redeeming qualities to myself, but 99% of the time I just think I'm dog shit. So I mean, you know, there's that. But yeah, depression's a bitch. But especially when you have depression and an inferiority complex together. But hold on. Excuse me. But anyway, yeah, that. I don't know, I'm brutally honest, there's that. Although I don't know that I would necessarily call that a favorite trait per se, so much as just I can acknowledge that it's probably maybe a good thing that I possess. I think I'm funny. Most of you guys probably don't. You probably think I'm funny looking at best, but I mean, I think I'm funny. I would probably go with that, even if it's 90% of the time self-deprecating humor, but I mean, again, I think I'm funny, so that was basically what the question asks, is what do I think my best personality trait is? Final answer, Alex, I think I will go with I think I'm funny. You once mentioned that you graffitied the girls' bathroom in high school and claimed it was performance art. Can you tell us the full story? I can. I feel like I've told it somewhere on this channel, though. I'm not sure if I did it as a Remembering Forgotten Memories video, or if it was tucked in another Q&A, or if this was on an Instagram live thing and I told it over there and I thought I told it on here, but more or less the gist of it. In my freshman year of high school, which is kind of a misnomer because I had 3 of those because I was a reclassified freshman 3 times. I guess that makes it 4, but really, yeah, I not all of us are academically minded, but I forget if I did this the first year or if I did this the start of the second year. I want to say it was start of the second year because I think it was after I was wrongfully suspended, and at that point I was just like, well, fuck this place, I'm gonna get myself thrown out. So I was on a crash course to get myself expelled, and was basically doing anything and everything I could think of to try and do that. So, one day, at this point, cutting class was no stranger to me. We'll put it that way. Let's put it this way. If I went to school today, a truancy officer would probably have arrested me for how little I actually showed up. But apparently now if you miss like 10 days, they come after you and your parents. I would have been so screwed within like a week. But well, I guess 2 weeks is 10 days, but still, even from like legit sick days, I think they'd have come after me for that. But that's neither here nor there. But basically, I was cutting at least 2 or 3 classes every single day, and yet it took till like the last year I was there for a truancy officer to ever so much as talk to me. So that shows how much I slipped between the cracks. But again, getting sidetracked. So I originally just didn't want to go to my first period class. Because I never did anything whatsoever. I just did fuck all for homework, classwork, just did not do anything, because, again, I was trying to get thrown out, so I was like, fuck it, I'm not gonna put in any effort at all. I want out of here. So I was like, well, why even bother going then? I don't feel like doing that. So I would either go to the school library, I would walk down the street to the library, or, more commonly, I would cut class and hide out in a bathroom stall. Irony, being little Miss Germaphobe that I am, I won't even actually use a public bathroom, but I apparently had no problem hiding out in public bathrooms. Go figure. I don't know the logic either. This was like 15-year-old me, okay? So, anyway. Excuse me. So, originally, I thought I was just gonna do my usual. Sorry, my throat. I have a frog in my throat. Originally thought I was just gonna cut class. I was gonna sit there and doodle in some notebooks. Probably write some smutty Beatles fanfiction while I was at it, since that was kind of my MO at that age. Yeah, we're not going there, but we could, but I'd rather not. But figured I was just gonna do that. And then I noticed a little bit of graffiti on, like, the toilet paper roll holder thing. Dispenser, that's the word I'm looking for. And I was like, light bulb moment. I could doodle in my notebook, or I could doodle on the wall. I'm going to be bad today. And I had Sharpies, I had whiteout, and I had highlighters in various colors. I think that was all I used for this. I may have tried ballpoint pen, but it didn't go very well, so I think it was those 3 things. And originally, I just started out with, like, doing the Beatles logo, because, again, I gave fuck all about going to school, and I kind of wanted them to know it was me, so I figured I will make this really obvious it was me. So originally, actually no, I don't think I started with the logo. I think I started with, like, their names fairly little, but then I got ballsy with it, and then I did the logo, like, about this big on the thing, and then I was like, well, shit, I've gone this far. How about... And then I just, like, made this mural all on, like, this one wall of the stall. All of Beatles stuffs. Just, like, album titles, song titles, you name it, doodles, the Yellow Submarine characters, the Beatles cartoon series characters, just random doodles trying to draw them in Sharpie and highlighter at all. Things with their wives' names, their kids' names, which is, I guess, in hindsight, kind of creepy, but oh well. Their pets' names, which I guess is even creepier. I, like, even drew Martha the dog on one of them. And I eventually ran out of room. And I was like, well, this took me, like, 2 class periods. I could stop here. Or I could keep going. And I decided to keep going. So I did the door, too. And that didn't take as long to fill, needless to say. And then I did the other wall. And then I did the back wall. And then I decided I'm going to cover the rest of the toilet paper dispenser. And then I decided to do the side of the toilet. Because at this point I was like, fuck it. I mean, I've come this far. I may as well go big or go home. Um, so that is exactly what I did. And by this point, basically the entire day had passed. I think there was like maybe 1 or 2 classes left. And by this point, I think there had even been like, not really a security guard, not really a campus patroller. Like my brain wants to say yard duty, but I don't think that's really a term you can use for high school. That's more of like an elementary school thing. Hold on, I have to answer this message real quick. I'll try to not lose my train of thought. And now they're not answering, so I don't know. If they decide to reply, I guess I'll stop the video again so I can take care of that. But anyway, so whatever the title of this job position was, be it yard duty, patrolling, yard officer, I don't freaking know. I don't know. It's probably because I'm running on 2 hours of sleep that I cannot think of the word for the life of me that I'm looking for here, but anyway. Definitely had noticed somebody had been in there for hell of long and eventually knocked on the door and asked if I was okay and what was I doing in there. And in this moment, I very unproudly claimed to have explosive diarrhea. Because there totally wouldn't be any smell from that, right? And I said that as soon as I can get it to stop, I'll come to the health office. So, you know, that's a thing. It was obvious bullshit. And as soon as they walked away, I popped out of there, and I went into the stall at the end of the bathroom. And I locked that door, but this time I sat up on the seat, and I hung my backpack on the hook on the door, so hopefully this time I would go unnoticed. But hiding out there now, the other stall, which was newly decorated, was getting noticed, and I was kind of getting a kick out of listening to the commentary of just all the what the fuck type of comments it was getting. Yeah. But before I left that stall, I made sure to sign my fucking name. Because again, I wanted to be caught. I wanted to get in trouble. I wanted to be expelled for it, is what I wanted. It didn't end up panning out. They actually didn't really end up doing anything, which pissed me off more, other than paint over it. But, yeah. Yeah. So, had there been digital cameras back then, I would love to have been able to have taken photos of this. If I had gone to school that day with the knowledge that this was what I was going to be doing that day, I would have brought a camera of some sort, be it a Polaroid or just a disposable camera, something. Would have figured something out. But I didn't really plan this in advance. It kind of just worked out that way. So I went home thinking, yep, tomorrow will be the day they throw my ass out. Yeah, no, it didn't pan out like that at all. But I did actually go to class the next day because I knew darn well that they're going to send for me. Except they didn't do it anywhere near as quickly as I thought. Like, most of the day went by before I finally got called in. I was expecting this to be first thing, given the whole wrongful suspension thing. It was like not even 15 minutes into my first class. But apparently when it's just graffiti, not so much, even when they know exactly who did it. But when they finally did call me in, actually, let me backtrack a little bit. My first period teacher, the one that I originally was cutting her class in the first place, was like, so, I see you had fun. I was like, yeah, I did. I just like gave no fucks. And that was all that was said. I mean, she was like this old, like 70, 80-year-old woman. I mean, I feel kind of bad in hindsight for how much I fucked with this poor woman. Because she was actually really sweet, and I think she really wanted to like me, just I was such an asshole at that age that I made it really hard for anyone to. So I'm still shocked anybody even likes me now. But, because frankly, I am an asshole, like, let's face it. But, yeah, so that was all that was mentioned most of the day. And I was just like, God, are I not gonna do anything? Really? Really? And now I'm just getting mad. I'm thinking, should I decorate another one? Should I decorate all of them? I'm like thinking, what else could I do? What else could I decorate on them? Because I wasn't doing anything rude like curse words or anything. I wasn't drawing dicks on walls. I probably should have, knowing my track record, but I didn't. Not this time. Nope. On this one, just purely Beatles stuff. Because I'm me. And when they finally did call me in to my house office to talk to um, the school counselor in that one, because we had like 4 house offices, it went alphabetically. So like A through like say F were in like house 1, G through about L were house 2, and so on and so forth. I was in house 1, obviously. So it's just like, so you graffitied an entire bathroom stall. Yes. Why? Why did you do that? This performance art. It's just like, I don't even know. Like, again, I didn't go into this planning this. It's just what tumbled out of my fucking mouth. I apparently was channeling my inner Yoko Ono that day, which is probably not a good thing to be channeling, but, yeah, that is what tumbled out of my mouth. And I stood by that answer. Like, the second I said it, I was like, okay, now I'm committing to that answer. And he went with it. He fucking went with it. And, like, he asked more questions, but he never seemed mad. He never said we were getting a fine or anything for it. I don't think I was even given a detention for it, actually. I think the one time I got detention was not for that, if I remember right. There was something I got one for where they made me, like, go clean windows after school for, like, 2 days in a row, and that was it. That was the only detention I ever got in my entire school career, which is insane for how much crap that I did, that they just freaking let me walk, even though they knew about it, and they called me out on it. And they were just like, not worth our time. I was like, what? So this one, I think he knew. Like, as much as I was denying it to him that I was trying to get thrown out, I had echoed my sentiments that I wanted to be in home study, something terrible. So I think he knew I was trying to get expelled, and that's why he wouldn't give me what I wanted, and rather went the other extreme of basically just doing nothing, because if there had been more repercussions, I would have kept doing it to keep getting more of them, till I got thrown out. So if he just did nothing, that takes away my incentive to keep doing it. And I mean, in hindsight, it's kind of genius. He played it expertly, because it did exactly what he wanted to do in not replicating that behavior again. But at the time, I was so mad that there was like no repercussions for it, other than they repainted the bathroom stall. And I was like, I didn't even get to take a picture. Oh, like that came out of my mouth. And he was just like, no, you don't get to take a picture of it. Just what the hell, self? But anyway, yeah, I was just like all but hurt that there was like no recourse, and I didn't even get my photo proof of it. But I did tell him I wouldn't do it again, but I was really expecting more than that. The fact that there wasn't honestly angered me to no end, because I thought this will be the thing that is so big they can't ignore it. They will definitely, if nothing else, at least suspend me again, if not throw me out. Because again, the suspension I got, I didn't actually do the thing that I got suspended for. So at this point, I was just like, well, screw it. Let's actually do some stuff to get in trouble for then, if I'm gonna get in trouble for nothing anyway. Maybe that's why I didn't get in trouble for this one, because he knew that suspension was wrongful. He was like the only person on my side in that one, but yeah, maybe he figured he owed me one on this one. I don't know, but this was the performance art bathroom stall graffiti story. So, let's see here. Next question. Yeah, they still never wrote back. Okay. Number 3. I know you love redheads. Is there a celebrity redhead that you're most attracted to? This is gonna sound really bad and really objectifying is gonna sound really fetishizing, and I don't mean it to sound as insulting as it probably will. Um, but for me, it's more of like a specific look than a specific person. And I know in my head that it's like purely an aesthetic thing. It's not even like so much being a fan of them. I just enjoy looking at them because I think they are so gorgeous. Um, it's not even like anyone with red hair. It's not. It's specifically the like really pale, really delicate featured, sleek, straight redheads. Like not the curly haired ones or anything. Like it's very, very specific. It's more of like the Russian model type look, I guess. Um, but there have been a few that have like come and gone like a revolving door where I go through like a streak of like all I want to do is just like look at this person and like everything they did, and then I get bored because I wasn't really that much a fan of them. I just wanted to look at them. Like I said, it sounds so bad saying it out loud, and even with dating people, I think I've only ever actually dated one redhead because, again, it's such an aesthetic thing for me. I don't feel like they're even in my league. I feel like they're way up here. Like I am not even worthy of their time. I'm not even worthy of licking dog shit off the bottom of their shoe. I just, it's weird. I have them on a pedestal and I don't know why, but I have for decades. So, but anyway, that aside, a few though that have stood out over the years at various points, even though none of them ever were like obsession worthy or anything. They were just ones that I went through a period of being attracted to. Because that's what you asked. Ones that I am attracted to. Um, when I was at 15, for some unknown fucking reason, I went through a phase with Anne Margaret, and I don't know why. I blame Tommy or Bye Bye Birdie. I don't know, but went through a major phase with her for maybe 5 years. Um, I also went through one. This one is shameful. This one is purely shameful, and you're gonna go, "Oh my god, why?" when you hear the name, and you'll probably guess exactly who it is when I say that this is pre-train wreck, pre-going crazy. Yeah, you know exactly who it is. It's friggin' Lindsay Lohan. Like specifically Mean Girls era Lindsay Lohan when she was still gorgeous. Yeah, but as an actress, not even like a fan, just I liked the way she looked. um Similarly, um that one chick from Desperate Housewives, I went through a phase where I thought she was just like so pretty. In hindsight now I'm like, what even was the big deal? She's not even that pretty. But at the time, I thought she was fucking gorgeous. Um and I watched that show just to watch her every week, which is stupid. I think if I rewatched it now, she wouldn't even be my favorite one now, but at that point in my life, she was. Um, there was only the one redhead on the show. I don't even know what her real actual name is. Again, shameful. Uh, let's see. This will sound even worse because she looks like a younger, slightly cuter version of that one, the Pioneer Woman. Yeah, yeah. And also going along with not even being a fan of them for their merit as like an actress or anything, just because of the way they look. Emma Stone. I don't even like her as an actress, even with her being in my beloved La La Land. I am the first one who will admit that movie would have been so much better with literally anyone else in that role. But it doesn't stop me from enjoying looking at her. Even though, as an actress, she is hella boring. Her voice is super monotone and it bothers me, but she's pretty. I like looking at her. I know, it sounds terrible. Um, Probably the only one that was ever obsession worthy wasn't even a chick, and it wasn't even somebody who's naturally a redhead. It was David Bowie during his Ziggy Stardust period. So, I mean, there's also that. Yeah, this goes both directions, man. But, that one still to date is like my favorite era of Bowie, with Labyrinth era probably being second behind that. But anyway, that one's not as a redhead though, that's as a blonde, which I know usually I don't go for, but every once in a while there's like one. But I don't know. But it's weird because when you look at like the actual people I've dated in real life, almost every single one of them ever have all been brunettes. Yet I'm Little Miss. No, I have a thing for redheads though. Even though I never actually date them, I just like to look at them. Like, this even extends over into YouTubers as well, but they're all like weird people that you'd probably never have heard of, and that sounds so hipster that I can't even stand hearing it come out of my own mouth. Yeah, like, some of them are just really niche, other ones it's like, it would sound even worse if I said who they were because of what they did before they were YouTubers. Kind of like how Shannon Rose, she's not a redhead, she's not an example of this. This is just an example of somebody who was something else before they were a YouTuber. She was a porn star before she was a YouTuber. I've never seen that stuff. I don't want to see that stuff because it's just like, no, it'd be too weird. Similar thing with Redhead Redemption. I've never actually seen the stuff she did with that. I don't want to, but that's what she did before YouTube. I only know her as a YouTuber though. But I will admit that she is just like tire screech, stop in my tracks, gorgeous as far as I'm concerned. I'm trying to think of more examples off the top of my head because, like I said, it's a specific look that just for whatever reason I am aesthetically drawn to, and just when I encounter it, like the rest of the world just stops, and like my jaw is on the floor, and I'm just like just cannot even stop looking until they're not on the screen. And it's like I said, it's dumb and it's objectifying, which is bad. But at the same time, it just, I think if we're honest with ourselves, we all have something that we're that way over, one way or another, be it a specific type or like a specific trait. I don't know. I think we all, to some degree, have that. I seem to have that over people with more or less the Beatle haircut. It can be on either gender, because Liza Minnelli is proof of that. Preferably if they have bigger eyes as well, as she does, but that is like the other type that I find myself drawn to. But anyway, you were asking about redheads though, so, you know. It is not a proud answer. But yeah, it's, like I said, more of a specific look than a specific person. Who has disappointed you the most in your life? Oh god, I could give you a laundry list. Good lord. Jesus, there's one person that comes to mind real quick, but I'm like, I don't want to name drop and make them feel bad, because I know they watch this channel, but, nah, I think if I had to go with, like, truly most, more than anybody, probably my dad. Which is extra shitty, since I'm a self-proclaimed daddy's girl, and yet, at the same time, yeah, cannot deny that he can be great, but he can also be the biggest disappointment on the face of the planet as well, in like the same breath. So, I will not go into specifics and turn this into a woe is me, my daddy drinks, and that sort of thing today. We're not going there today. I've gone there in enough other videos. Let's see. What's the kindest things anyone has ever done for you? This was another one where I had to like think about it, because I was like, I'm sure there's loads of examples of this, and yet the ones that come to mind first sound really freaking shallow by comparison. I'm sure there's some that have had a lot more substance to them than this that I'm not thinking of right now that I'm gonna feel really bad. You watch. As soon as I hit stop on this, I'll think of them and then be like, oh my god, I'm a shithead for not thinking of that. But two that come to mind, and it's just ironic that both of the people that made these things happen were essentially like the same distance from the person that they involved. When Liza Minnelli's boyfriend was able to get a personalized autographed DVD for me for my birthday one year. That's pretty good. I didn't even ask. That was just a thing that he did out of the goodness of his heart, because he likes me for whatever reason. But similarly, Davy Jones's then girlfriend, back in the early 2000s, was able to arrange a personal one-on-one meeting for me with the guy. So, that's probably even more so number one on my list. But yeah, just saying there's probably better examples than that, and I feel really, 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 really shallow that those are the ones that jump to mind more than anything, because I'm sure there's gotta be better ones that have happened in my life than that, but if we're being honest, that's what comes to mind first, and kept coming to mind the more that I thought about trying to come up with a better answer than that, but those are the two that come up the most. Oh god, let's see here. Did you ever watch the daytime soap opera Passions? No, I actually have not. I've heard of it, mostly in passing on the show Jane the Virgin. They mention that show all the time, and they have like a running joke with it of like their own fictionalized version of it of the Passions of Santos, but that they did with one of their main characters. But no, I've actually never seen that specific one. The only two soap operas I ever specifically really followed closely were Guiding Light, which R.I.P. Guiding Light, I loved that one. And for probably the last handful of years that it ran, All My Children, I got really, really into that one. Back in about oh god, when was that storyline? I want to say it was somewhere around like 2007-ish when they had the Zarf storyline, who is based loosely off David Bowie. Yeah, I'm noticing a trend here, but he was like daytime TV's first openly transgender character, which I thought was cool. And then they also had him in love with daytime TV's first open lesbian character, who was played by Eden Regal, who I also adore. Is another one that not the redhead look, but the other look that I have. Yeah, she definitely encompasses that one. But anyway, so I basically watched it 90% of the time for those two characters. And I was really disappointed with ABC when the show changed hands and they just did away with both of them. And when they brought one of them back, they totally screwed up the character like irreparably and then wrote her out. I was like, really? Really though? That was pretty insulting. But I did get attached to a lot of the other storylines in it while watching for those two. But I ended up watching it till it went off the air. And then when they did the short-lived online reboot, I watched the hell out of that. Um, but then it was gone in like one season, which also seemed strange that soap operas air every day. Yet this was like, oh yeah, we filmed a season and we'll be back in who knows how many months, and then they were just gone. It got canceled for lack of interest. I was like, oh, that sucks. It was just starting to get interesting after triggering the shit out of me for most of it because they had a rape storyline and there was like no warning and it went like really, really, really bad with it and just triggered the hell out of me. Finally got to a point where I was more or less able to handle it and was starting to like really enjoy the show, and then it was canceled and over. It made me sad. I was like, great, so now All My Children hasn't just been taken away from me once, it's been taken away twice. Fucking great. So, I mean, if it came back again, I'd probably be really leery to get into it a third time, but I don't think it ever will, because Susan Lucci wouldn't come back for when it did the online version, so I don't see them ever doing it without her, and yeah. The only current one that I even like loosely follow at all, more or less in passing. I don't watch it every day, but my dad does. Yeah, I know. Make all the jokes in the world you want there. He watches Young and the Restless. He's like a Victor Newman fanboy, which is adorable. To be fair, I think he's a really cool actor too. I like his voice. I actually I have it right here. I have his book. So there's that. He has the ebook. I have the physical book. But he let me burn a copy of the ebook, but I still have yet to either listen to it or read it. But anyway, that's a thing. But the chick who played the first openly lesbian on All My Children also came over to YNR, which was why I started watching it, but then they recast her as somebody else, and I was like, oh, well, you guys suck then. So there was that. But I kind of like drift in and out of it. Like if I'm walking through the room and it's on, I'll usually stop for a few minutes and watch it, and 9 times out of 10 end up getting engrossed in it and end up sitting down and watching the rest of it. um, it's sort of like a loosely following it though, because I definitely don't watch it daily. Um, but yeah, so let's see. What is your favorite brand of yarn? Do you have a favorite skein color-wise in your collection right now that you are dying to use for a project? It is a weird thing because I don't think I have any one specific brand that I like head and shoulders put above the others, because I use different brands for different things. Like for my Nez hats, like I use one specific brand for that I don't use for anything else ever. For a lot of things though, I use Vanna's Choice, which is actually a very cheap yarn, but it doesn't feel that cheap. It feels actually a lot nicer than what it is. Given that it's just like a run-of-the-mill regular old acrylic, like Red Heart Super Saver, except it feels a hell of a lot nicer than Super Saver does. But I like the colorways of Super Saver, so I do like all the extra steps to soften it to make it feel like anything that's not Super Saver. But then the Lion brand Scarfy, I love the colorways of, but there's only like a very limited palette that they have with it, so I mean it's a mixed bag there. Um, what were they? What brand did those? Can I see them from here? I think the Karen Sweet Rolls. I love the colorways in that. As for dying to use them, I want to use all of them. I've got like a big ass basket behind me over there that I still need to turn into scarves when I'm all caught up on back orders. That I really like the way that it works up. It's super pretty. I similarly have some of the Red Heart Ombre that I can't wait to see how that looks when it's worked up too. I am not sure if this one got discontinued, but I used to really love Bernat Satin. It was so soft. It felt like Karen Simply Soft, but was thicker. It was more like worsted weight, but it had the feel of Simply Soft. And was cheaper, and you got more of it. And it didn't usually have the knots in the middle of the skein bigger thing. So, I loved that, but I think that's more or less discontinued at this point, which makes me really sad. And, for all the dishclothy type things, I always use Lily Sugar and Cream, because predictable Jen is predictable, so. Gonna be right back for a quick potty break, and I will answer the rest of the questions then. Okay, sorry about that, I'm back. So the next question is, what are you most proud of? Meaning your proudest accomplishment, proudest moment, that kind of thing. This is the other one that got me really stuck like I was on the first question, because I mean, I feel like, have I really accomplished anything in my life worth being proud of? I'm not so sure that I have, other than like, would one even count creating this channel and growing it from nothing to even the humble size that it is now as an accomplishment? For me, for somebody who never went to college or anything, never has had a traditional job, for me it feels like an accomplishment, but I know for other people it's like, dude, you have like 3,000 subscribers, you are a dot on the map, that's not even a big deal. But for me it's a big deal. So there's that, and similarly, just being able to keep my Etsy shop afloat for as many years as I have also feels like an accomplishment. I think this is going to be going on year 8 of that. So, again, it's the only year I've ever gotten this far behind on set orders, so I'm just like, oh, crap, I'm doing my best to keep my head above water, but I am proud of all the sales that I've made there, because, I mean, it is hard for a lot of people to so much as break, like, the 100 sale mark. I went above and beyond that quickly. I made it above the 1,000 sale mark. I think I'm at about 1,200 something currently. I'd have to go look at my shop to see the exact number, but, not many people stick with it that far, especially for handmade things. The ones that usually get those kind of sales are people who are like predominantly selling patterns or digital items, things like that, or like printables or art prints, shit like that. Things that are handmade, you usually don't see those kind of sales, but every once in a while, there will be, like, a person who can pull it off. Like, there's one person on there I basically idolize, Pixie Belle, who I think is, like, the most successful knitting shop on the entirety of Etsy, and her sales I can't even hold a candle to, because she has, like, almost 40,000, and she hasn't been around that much longer than me on there, and I'm just like, god damn. I don't know how she does it, especially since it's literally run by just she and her husband, which, I mean, at least that's one other set of hands. I literally just have myself, but, anyway, that aside, yeah, it feels like an accomplishment to me, because I know that even the level that I'm at is still better than the grand bulk of people on there in a similar category. So anyways, hold on. They finally wrote back. Let me answer this now. Okay, we're up a little closer now. I also had to get my charger wire. I really need to invest in the longer one for Apple, but that one is like $40, and I don't feel like spending that on a freaking USB wire, so yeah, I just had to scoot the table closer to my laptop where I have it sit next to me. It'll be fine. But anyway, so next question. Oh, I'm so bad, I know. I know you wear glasses sometimes, so on the days when we see you sans glasses, are you wearing contacts? No, I am just blind as a bat. My eyes are too sensitive to wear contacts. I wish I could wear contacts, because if I could, I would have colored ones. Either blue or really, really dark green, one or the other, but they would be colored if my eyes could tolerate contacts at all. The days you see me without glasses, which is a grand bulk of the time, I have to have shit really close to me because I'm super nearsighted, is what it is. When I do wear the glasses on camera, I will be 100% transparent about this. Usually it is for the effect of looking a little bit smarter and more reputable about the thing I'm talking about. Because anything I'm talking about on here, I probably have something close enough to me to read without the glasses on, most likely. So there's that, plus that is a really, really, really old prescription on those, and I still haven't gotten a newer pair since those, and I have had that pair since probably I was about 17. You're supposed to get a new pair every year. I'm 34. Yeah, that, and they're all scratched to hell, and just, it's not good. I know, I really desperately need to go do that. I just, for whatever reason, don't. Mostly because I got really attached to those specific frames. And if I had done this sooner, this probably wouldn't even be an issue, but I got really attached to those. They are the only glasses I've ever owned that I liked the way they looked on my face. Because if I don't like how they look on my face, I just plain won't wear them, and there's no point bothering. They're the only ones I ever felt that way about. By the time it came time to replace them, they already weren't selling those frames anymore. And truth be told, those frames came from the child's section, which may be why they fit me more correctly, because I'm about the size of a child. But, I just tried them on for shits and giggles, truth be told, because there was somebody on LiveJournal that I used to follow that had basically the same glasses, and I was just like, oh hey, it's like da-da-da, whatever her name was, I don't even remember anymore. I just wanted to see what I would look like with her glasses on, and oh my god, they're actually really cute. And I was like, am I allowed to buy a pair from the kids' side? Because these actually fit me perfect. And they were like, yeah, you can buy them from there. And they don't pinch your head. I'm like, no, no, these actually stay on my head instead of falling off like the adult ones do. Yeah, I know they're supposed to size them, but even when they size them, they always fall off of me, so whatever. But these did not. And they actually suited my face. They were wonderful, and I've never found them in that exact shape ever again. The only ones close to it are the ones with the stupid color block on the inside that I think, I'm sorry if you love them, but I think they look freaking retarded. I don't like how they look, and that's been a trend for years. And that's the only way I ever find that shape, is with that, and they won't make them without it. I'm like, well, fuck. And I'm too attached to that. Just, I don't know if this is like another weird Aspie trait of mine where I'm like, no. I mean, I know I hate change, but I'm just like, no, no, I'm not getting a different shape. Screw you, it's not happening. So instead, I just punish myself by going without. um, which is really dumb, because I know it makes my eyes worse. I also know damn well that I probably should see an eye doctor to get addressed whatever the hell's wrong with them, because I have a blind spot on this side, and seemingly little ones starting on this side, so I'm like, yeah, I should probably take care of that before that, like, turns into a bigger deal, but, yeah, that, so, probably not the answer you were looking for there, but, yeah, that just turned into a whole ordeal, but, anyway. Yeah, no, if things are up close, I can read them fine, but, like, even from, I'm trying to find a good example that I'm looking at, from here to about 4 feet away, if even, maybe it's 3 feet, I cannot read anything clearly at that distance. I actually have a box of something, of, like, printer cartridges about 2 feet away from me. Even the big letters on the top from that distance are blurry to me. I can only read it because I know what it says, but, like, all the smaller print is just like bleh. So anyway, that's a thing. I know, especially somebody who thrives on visual art mediums, I should really, really take care of my vision, and I suck for not doing the thing. So one of these days, probably. What's your favorite thing about your mom? Can I just say how refreshing it is to have somebody ask me something about my mom that isn't just, dude, what the fuck's the deal with your mom? So, thank you for it not being that question. But favorite thing about my mom? Probably that I inherited my artistic inclinations from her. Um, which probably sounds really shallow, but I think that would be my go-to answer. Um, do you prefer to be called Jen or Jennifer, or any other iteration of your name? Jen is usually the go-to, although I used to actually prefer the full name, but now I think I've gotten more attached to just Jen, but it is Jen with 2 N's. You did spell it right. Most people don't. So I'm throwing that out there that I spell it with 2 N's, by the way, in case you guys weren't aware. But, because I used to watch the show Gem when I was little, and I realized, with my name being Jen, if I smashed 2 N's really close together, it looked like an M. So, you know, in my little 80s fangirl heart, I was like, I'm Gem now. But then just spelling Jen with 2 N's stuck and kind of made sense in my head, because I was like, well, I mean, there's 2 of them in my name. It's not like you pronounce it any differently to have the second one there, so why don't I use the second one? At that point, I had never really seen anyone else do it. Now I see it all the dang time, so I'm like, I don't know if I started a trend or if I was just a lot more unoriginal than I thought I was. Probably that one. But, yeah, back in, like, the late 90s, I had never seen another person spell Jen with 2 N's, and I thought I was, like, the only one. Thought I was so unique. But now freaking everyone does it, and I'm like, oh, well, guess I'm not so unique. At least not anymore. Have you ever thought of doing a podcast? You'd be amazing at it. Yes and no, only because A, I feel like I basically do that here, just there's video with it. Um, and B, I wouldn't know how to monetize on that. And I will be the first to admit I do this largely for the income that I make off of it. If I thought I would make more money doing the other, or that anyone would actually follow me over to it, maybe I would, but right now, currently, I feel like anything I feel like talking about, I just do here anyway, so I kind of use it as, like, a hybrid between the two art forms, because I know I make a lot longer videos than most people would for blogging, or not blogging, for vlogging, but at the same time, it's just like, I don't mind being on camera, so doing it this way instead of doing a podcast, I don't know. I wouldn't rule it out, but I also wouldn't know what the hell I'm doing either, if I'm being totally honest. What is your favorite sitcom of all time? I'm guessing it might be The Monkees, but I never want to assume. You would assume correctly. It's one of quite a few that I, like, have the full DVD box set of. In their case, more than once over. But there was a few that I would put pretty close to it that I've watched to death just as much as them. But if I had to pick only one, yeah, I think it would be them. But some close seconds. The Nanny would definitely be a close second because I think I go through that series at least once a year of rewatching the whole thing. God only knows why my brain feels drawn to that of all things around like the time when I'm working on holiday orders. That's usually what I watch while working on them to keep my sanity. God only knows why that's the go-to, but that seems to be my go-to and has been I think every single year that my shop's been a thing, and I think I was rewatching it before that too, even before I had the DVDs. I just used to do it online, and then they got pulled from YouTube, so I was like, "Fuck it, I'm gonna buy it." Mork and Mindy's another big one. I probably haven't watched it as many times all the way through, but I love it to death, and I have since I was about 19. Which at that point, whenever I'd mention it, nobody ever seemed to know what I was talking about except for people who lived through that era. Now it seems to be it's got a lot more of a following, so I'm happy for that, but at the same time I don't feel as unique anymore as I once did for latching on to such a weird show like that. Daria, I've watched to death because I feel like she is a cartoon version of myself and have since the very first time I ever watched it. Not much has changed, but like my teenager self, like down pat, like that looked like myself in my teens, right down to the outfit she wore all the time. I was like, and I had never seen it before when I was dressing like that, so I was just like, what the fuck? I even had round glasses at that point. I still have the green jacket. I had the black army boots. About the only thing different was I didn't usually wear a skirt, but I did have one that looked like hers, but it's just like, holy crap, and my hair was exactly like that. I was like, what the fuck? But and her attitude was just like mine. I was like, oh my god. So yeah, Daria, I've watched to death. Although I don't know that that counts as a sitcom because it's a cartoon. For counting cartoons, I'd probably also have to mention Rocko's Modern Life too. Um, oh, a big one that I almost forgot that I would feel terrible if I forgot. Monty Python's Flying Circus. That since I was 12. I had the whole DVD set of that too. That I've watched through many, many, many times and can recite just about any sketch word for word verbatim, which is saying a lot because they had a lot of seasons. So there's them. Arrested Development is another one where I could probably quote just about any sketch, anytime, any day. Um, what else? I know there's more. But I mean, like I said, number one would be the Monkeys, but close second is like a tie between all these other things. Oh, MASH! MASH is another big one that I've watched to death that I have the DVDs of. It takes up like an entire shelf on my DVD tower, by the way. It's like 11 or 12 discs for that one, not counting the movie. So there's that. Oh, duh, how could I forget Gidget? Gidget was another one. Actually, I don't know that I would even put her on second. At one point, she would have been. I think at this point, maybe dropped to third place. But Family Ties, obviously, and Spin City. I used to watch those religiously, and I still watch them to death. What else? What else? I'm sure there's more. I'm trying to think. I'm sure I'm forgetting things, but I mean, the big one, yeah, you nailed it with the Monkeys. I'm pretty transparent about my love there. um, let's see. On a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you feel like your health problems get in the way of your life? 10 being they totally get in the way of me living my best life, and 1 being they're not so bad. I feel like that answer varies, like, depending on like when my health flares up and gets really bad as opposed to just run of the mill most of the time. And this also depends on, are we also counting mental health issues? Because those, yeah, this number would be much higher most of the time if we include that. Sorry, there was a push notification, I got distracted. As for the actual physical medical ones, when it's not flared up, I would say maybe like maybe a 5 or 6. I mean, it's enough to hamper a lot of things. Like, I can't stand for long periods of time. I usually can't even stand up for an hour. I can't do tons of walking without sitting down for a while, or my legs swell up like a balloon and ache for days on end. It's pathetic. Um, my lungs are terrible. That is no secret. It doesn't take much to set them off to where it's just like, oh, not only am I having an asthma attack, now I'm having a flare up with that. That'll go on for weeks, and now I have to go to the ER. Great. When my heart is bad, though, that one can spiral quickly to almost 10 territory. But most of the time, I would say probably more just middle somewhere. But when it gets bad, it gets bad, bad. I also have lesser issues too that also affect things. Like I mentioned, the eyesight thing. Obviously, that kind of hampers some things, like ever having any shot at driving. I have psoriasis, which really limits what I wear because my skin is fucking gross. It's why I don't color my hair, because it's all over my scalp, and just nothing I have ever tried has ever cleared it up. And trying to color my hair was the most painful, intense experience of my life. I literally almost threw up and passed out because it was so bad. So I can't do that, which really sucks because I would like to be a redhead, but I can't. I got to do it like once, but only once. I did not look good as a blonde. I tried that too, but without peroxide. I used spray and stuff to lighten it. It was not a good look on me. But yeah, I can't dye my hair because that, which really sucks because I would love to be one of those people who has the crazy hair colors. I want like purple hair or blue hair or shit like that, or even just like streaks of it. Yeah, can't do that. Also can't handle the smells of the chemicals either with my sensitivity issues, so there's that. I have like a laundry list of issues. It sucks. It like so much is gets like rainy out. I'm practically an old woman with my joints being totally craptastic to where it's like it hurts to move or walk, which of course then makes the heart things worse. Yeah, it's all comorbid. Yeah, I can talk comorbidity shit. So there's that. Yeah, it sucks, but if we include the mental health issues, and now we're including shit like agoraphobia and all the anxiety issues and depression, that most of the time it's like probably at least an 8 or a 9. It stops me from doing a lot. A lot, a lot. So there's that. And no, this is not meant to be like, oh, woe is me, poor Jen kind of thing. No, this is just me answering this honestly. Usually I try to downplay the stuff to not be Debbie Downer all the time, but if I'm being honest, yeah, it does hamper a lot of things. And then I actually have a few bonus questions I gleaned from your podcast on one episode that I was like, I want to answer those too, because I didn't sign up for an account on the site, so I wasn't able to comment them over there, so I was like, screw it, I'm gonna throw them in the video. They're from an old episode from like a month or two ago, though, so fair warning. Yeah, so feel free to submit me more questions after finally getting this up after months and months of waiting, though. Do you like the term bucket list? No, I actually freaking hate that term. It feels so morbid and just it puts a lot of pressure on it to where it feels like it has to be like a big, huge, ginormous thing. Whereas it's like you could have plans that you want to do at some point before you die while you are still here on this earth without them having to have that level of importance. I don't know, it makes it feel like lesser ones aren't worthy of being that. And I don't know, it just in general feels really morbid and knee-jerk reflexes like I want to pull away from it instead of act on it. I don't know. I am not a fan of that term. I appreciate what it's trying to do, but I don't like it being called that. I can appreciate even what it is. I just don't want to hear it be called that term. Colorful Christmas lights or white Christmas lights? all the Christmas lights, all of them. I just like the lights in general. I mean, I think there's like a time and place for all of them. I mean, we generally have two big Christmas trees. One of them has the white lights, one of them has the colorful lights, so I get the best of both worlds. Um, but in terms of like outdoor Christmas lights, I like the more colorful ones. In the house, it's a mixed bag. I think different places, certain things look better, like on the railings, like wrapped around them. I think the white looks better, but that may just because it throws more light, whereas the colored ones don't as much, and I like there to be more light. Um, but I think I like the look of the tree that has the white ones better, actually, even though the one with the colorful ones is the more fun tree that has the more fun ornaments. It may just be because the one with the white lights is just more aesthetically pleasing because everything's matchy on it, and has a tied-in theme, whereas the other one is just anything goes, throw it all on the tree. I don't know. So there's that. But in terms of like outdoor ones, oh, I love the colorful ones, and it pisses me off that my dad doesn't usually use them anymore. We have like the white ones. I think there's like some blue ones. I'm like, I miss the colorful ones. Bring them back. I actually have a couple strands of lights in here that I never turn on because I never hung them up correctly. I have them like draped over one of my window frames, I guess. I almost said sill. I'm like, not sill. I had them over the other one too, but the trim at the top of it that goes over the blinds, I kind of knocked down at some point, so they came down with it. But I have purple ones on this side and I have blue on the other side. I don't know, if I ever, like, get this room cleaned enough to, like, film in more than one spot, maybe I'll set up somewhere that has lights in the background. Be like a little aesthetic YouTuber. I don't know. But anyway, what's the best sandwich you've made for yourself recently? Oh, I've got this one. Uh, I'm way too excited about it too, because it's also on my January favorites list that I still need to film as well. But oh my god, I'm like really excited to share this one because I never thought of it until recently, and it's now like my favorite thing. So I mean, grilled cheese on its own is already good, but somehow it never dawned on me you could add herbs to that. It's so simple. It's such a basic thing, but this never dawned on me as a thing you could do. I thought it's just grilled cheese. It just is what it is. If you feel fancy, you can throw in some tomatoes and that's it. There's no reason you can't throw frickin' anything on it, I guess, but somebody on Reddit like posted like a picture of like, I think theirs was more of a panini really, but it had all these herbs in it. I was like, you can do that in grilled cheese? And like, I saw this post like hella early in the morning. I swear to God, the entire day till it was like acceptably lunchtime. I was highly considering doing this for breakfast, but I was like tasting it all day and obsessing hardcore over it. Anyone I talked to that day can attest I would not shut up about this fucking sandwich, right? In the house, online, didn't matter. I wouldn't shut up about this damn thing until I finally made it. And oh my god, it's so worth it. So, Colby Jack cheese, and then garlic powder, rosemary, basil, I think Mrs. Dash was the other one. And like maybe some pepper. Let that melt, or let the cheese melt around it. Oh my god. It is like an orgasmic religious experience. It is so freaking good. It is my new favorite thing. I don't think I could ever eat just a normal plain grilled cheese ever again after having experienced that. It is so freaking good. Oh my god. Part of me wants to like experiment trying out different spices, but at the same time I'm like, no, if it's not broke, don't fix it. Leave it be. It's perfect the way it is. Don't fuck with it. You'll forget how you did it. So yeah, so I've made several of those recently, and oh my god, they're so good. Oh, goodness. So yeah, that is definitely, hands down, best sandwich I've made recently, and I would highly recommend it. It's so good. I suppose you could substitute in whatever cheese you'd want to, but that's just what I personally used in it, and it worked really well with, but I'm sure it would work with other things. I wouldn't recommend pepper jack, though, despite it having spices in it. I'm like, I feel like that would cancel out the flavors of the other. So maybe not that one, but most regular cheeses, I think, would work with it. So, anyway. And that is the end of the questions for this Q&A that has probably gone on entirely too long and been really freaking boring. But if you made it to the end of the video, a gold star to you. If you have more Q&A questions for me, submit them. Be it you, Robin, or anybody else. As many as you want. It could be a few. You could submit me 100 questions. I'll answer them. I just need the questions to be here to be able to answer, and hopefully I won't drag my feet so long on making the next one. I did not mean to on this one, just I suck. So anyways, you guys know what to do. If you like this video, go ahead and give it a like. If you're not already and you'd like to, click subscribe, hit that notification bell icon so you never miss an upload. Leave comments down below. Again, if you have more questions for me, leave them below. Make sure you're following my social media accounts, my Facebook fan page, my Instagram, my Twitter, Etsy, all of them, plus more, all down below. As well as if you feel like donating to me because you like what I do here on this channel, donation link as always is down in the description too. So anyway guys, until next time, bye bye.